Hey guys, okay, so wanted to give a quick update about where we've been and where I think we're going in markets. So the last time we chatted, I believe I was talking about how I wanted to see the same fractal from June play out back here. So what that looked like is we formed some structure. We had a break in the market structure on the daily here. And then what we ended up doing is we pushed away from it, tagged back into it, filled the fair value gap, came back down, and then started chasing this fair value gap and these equal highs. So I wanted to see that same thing play out down here. And the spot that I was originally looking for was a 12-hour breaker for us to sort of chase after and retest. And so the one I was actually looking at was this one right here. So I wanted to see we basically broke daily market structure here. We had formed this 12-hour breaker block, and I wanted to see us push away. I tweeted out that I wanted to see these equal highs get left because I thought that was a great thing to have in place if we were to come down, test this, and then have something to chase. So I did like that was staying put. So what I wanted to see is for us to come down in here, create some 1-hour bullish market structure, and then chase these highs. That didn't really end up happening. So what we did is, I was saying before, like once you come down into these high time frame levels, you want to drop down to the lower time frame to figure out a reason to get bullish. You don't just want to blindly buy the level. I think I was saying that in the last video. So once we started kind of closing through this level or this zone, this now becomes resistance. So technically you broke market structure here, but to me, that was just a first test of resistance, and you saw the immediate reaction lower. Kept auctioning lower, and what we ended up doing was sort of finding some relief into this weekly zone. Where is it? This guy. So this guy hadn't really been tested yet. It got tested last week. But what you saw today on the S&P is, I'm willing to bet there's divergence in here. What am I looking for? And so sometimes I use this when we're coming into key levels to just kind of see whether trends are exhausting or not. And that's exactly what you saw. So on the 1 hour, you can see even though we're continuing to slide further, it's getting exhausted, and you're seeing relative strength diverge along with the oscillator. And what I was looking for is, okay, we've come down into this weekly zone. We've broken market structure bullishly, and then you very quickly retested this breaker candle before pushing away. We tagged it perfectly, and we've pushed away. So now what I'm watching, I entered along on this test a little bit late. I think my entry is like 36.20. So, I mean, it's fine, but didn't enter it perfectly. What I'm watching for now is any signs of weakness. Like if we start tagging back into this 12-hour breaker again and we can't get through, I'm going to immediately cut it. But the places that I am currently chasing for upside, this to me is an obvious target 1. This is another easy target 2. I don't know if I would instantly take stuff off here just because these are relatively close. So I'll just wait and monitor. But I think your ultimate target has to be these equal highs up here. It's just such an obvious draw. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to do exactly what we did in June, which was basically push away, tag the fair value gap closure, which would be right around 37.50, and then come back down for another test before pushing higher. But that's something I'm going to be paying attention to. So I want to see how we react up here at these highs. We're in the lunch hour for equities in the US, so I want to see what we do for the afternoon session. But to me, I'm targeting basically 36.70 and then 36.95, and just seeing what develops from there. So NASDAQ is doing something similar. The scary thing on NASDAQ is we've just continued to put in lower 2022 lows for the last few days. So on NASDAQ, what you want to start seeing is some range reclaim. So you want to start seeing daily closes back in this level before chasing higher. I guess you could probably do slightly lower. So NASDAQ's been a little bit wilder. We'll see what happens there. Bitcoin has not really showed strength at all. The thing you could argue is that while NASDAQ has been sweeping lows, Bitcoin has not been. To me, it's just not doing much of anything. So on the hourly, we came back down. We tagged the 2017 all-time high pretty perfectly. Excuse me, where was it? It's was it this one? I don't remember. I thought we tagged something pretty perfectly and then dumped lower. I'll have to go back and find that. Let's see. What did we tag? Oh, here it is. This is what we tagged. It was the prior all-time high weekly closing level. So we basically tagged it a few times, swept those lows, and now we're trying to get outside the range. This to me doesn't look structurally as great as the S&P is looking now. So S&P is basically like up here sweeping highs, and Bitcoin's sort of already testing this order block here. And also the Bitcoin never really broke market structure the way I would want to see it. So, technically it breaks market structure here. We push away from it. We tag back into the order block zone perfectly. So you would have entered here on the retest. Stop could have gone there. I think your target has to be this order block fair value gap, which we tagged. Pretty decent trade, a little over 2R. But then you basically immediately break structure on the downside too. So what I want to see to get long Bitcoin is I really want to trade this more in a higher time frame zone. These lows got run on this exchange, but they didn't get run on some of the other ones. So if you look at USDT, for example, didn't get run. If you look at the CME chart, didn't get run. So now you have equal lows to the downside on Bitcoin that I do want to pay attention to. The other thing Bitcoin really likes to do is fill in some of this wick, usually like half to a third. So that coincides with, again, testing this weekly high closing level. Maybe we get some more downside before up. I don't know. The thing to be careful of is we have a CPI number coming out, I believe, Thursday this week, or is it tomorrow? I don't know. It's later this week. And you sort of want to be hedged coming into that because that can be kind of like a whipsaw event. So I'm not in a Bitcoin trade right now. I am looking to get involved in crypto at some point, but this just isn't really giving me setups that I want to take. Like, to me, we're just continuing to like test this 19K level. We've been testing it for a while. I don't know if this continues to hold, right? So we've continued battering it, and it makes sense because it's the prior all-time high zone. But to me, normally when you hit something that significant, you want to see a major reaction. And what we got was, a 33% move, but that's not really that significant when you look at, bear market rallies for Bitcoin where you have 100% moves. You have, what just happened? I'm not sure what just happened. Anyway, Bitcoin is used to having sort of these 100% moves, and we're just not seeing it. So we're not seeing it here. We saw it historically, like I was saying, it's 100% almost. We have 55%. You have a 44%. Like you're just not seeing that type of move here. The best thing for if you're a bull is you want to see maybe us just continue bouncing here and not break down. And for whatever reason, we just like squeeze. I think that's not as likely. Like typically when you see this sort of just like every reaction is lower and lower and lower than the previous one, it's not really a good sign. Like you want to see them start pushing. The other thing is this, I'm not really a trend line person, but it's kind of worth paying attention to, is we're just like butting up against this trend line. And right now is the point, sort of make or break, like whether we close above it or puke lower. Some people look at it on the log trend line, then you have a lot longer to go. I don't really use log charts, but if you do, that's fine. So on the daily, we're outside of it, but we're not really pushing away from it. We're just sort of like screwing around here. So something to keep an eye on. I don't like how we keep hugging this level. It's following the S&P, so whatever the S&P does, you expect crypto to do. For now, it's not bouncing as much as the S&P, so it's sort of just like there's no interest whatsoever in this market. So that's something I'll be keeping an eye on for right now. I just have a long position in equities, and I want to see how we react in this order block test again, and I want to see how we react after we take out these highs. Any sort of SFP into this level or any sign of weakness up here, I'm going to cut it. If I'm wrong, that's fine. But the other entry would be once we flip this 12-hour zone, play that for the push higher. Until then, this is just resistance until it gets flipped. So something to keep an eye on the rest of the week. Hopefully that was helpful, and I will talk to you guys next time.